The body oxygen level test, BOLT test. What is it? Why is this important? Why are we starting with it? Well, to change anything or to understand where we're at so that we can improve, we use the BOLT test so that you can track your progress, understand where your breathing's at, and now start to level it up within the Skeletal Freedom Breathing for Runners course. So let's kick into it and get started. Body oxygen level test. Here is what we are going to cover. Why the breath matters. Energy and endurance, performance and recovery, mental focus and relaxation, injury prevention, health and wellness. Throughout this course, you are going to understand these fundamentals and how critical the breath plays a role in all of these parts. We're going to cover what is the BOLT test, why your BOLT score matters. We're going to do the BOLT test, and then we'll look to understand how you can improve your BOLT score, how to level it up from your baseline. The important part here is this is a simple framework that you can use practical breathing tools that help you become more efficient at breathing so you can train more and enjoy your running safer, longer, and easier. As always, you can find the latest and exclusive content on YouTube and on Instagram at Skeletal Freedom. Share this course. Let's start a revolution and change runners' lives together. This information is so valuable that I think that I've been compelled to share this with you all. So if you find value in it tonight, please don't hesitate to help a fellow runner out as well. Train your team. This is a free online training and free online trainings for sports teams. So don't be shy to share these insights from the tools that you learn here. Take them out with your team, with your loved ones, with those around you, and test them out with them as well. Warning, this is the most important video in the entire course. Watch the entire video, be present, and don't fast forward. The reason why I say this is that this is a progressive course, and so all of these tools and all of these skills stack upon one another throughout the program. So whether you're doing park runs, whether you're running half marathons regularly, whether you're training for ultras, all of these tools stack on top of each other and support different aspects of training which are relevant for different distances. So please stick with it. Pregnancy. Do not do any of the breathing exercises if you are in your first trimester. Strong breath holds create stress for both the mother and the baby. Direct message me if you are pregnant for alternative solutions. I'm always happy to chat about what workarounds we can work with so that you can either be breathing calm in the mind and stress less during pregnancy. There are specific techniques. We just have to watch out for a few specific things that might not support during pregnancy. So please send me a message if that's the case. Pro tip, watch this on 2 times speed, but not the breathing exercises as always. Why the breath matters. Let's dive in. Runner's life, hashtag, right? Quite often we've locked in a race. We're ready to go. We've set ourselves a challenge. There's something coming up in the calendar. Now we've got to figure out how. Time poor for training. We have busy lives, lots going on. So I always look to optimize and maintain the most efficient ways that I can use my limited time for training to maximize my desired achievement. Balancing work, life, and family. It's not always easy. And these things, they compete with our valuable time and the things that we want to achieve, or the simple act of doing things that we love with less effort so we can do more of them. Previous injuries, I'm not going to lie, I've had a lot in my time. I'm sure so many other people do too. We crash and we bash and we move through this world, often at a rate of knots. So these are often with us as a runner. Fearful of injury. I know when coming up to a hill or a technical section, it might be dark, it might be uneven, it might be slippery, it might be in a forest, could just be on the pavement, all of these things. There is always often that thought or a lower mind fear of injury as we're running or as we're pushing our bodies and our limits further. Weekly social runs, often a massive aspect of runners' lives, and I cannot state how important they are. And if you're not already part of like a social local run club, I dearly recommend that you do check one out. They're friendly places. They're not about speed. You don't have to be fast. There's paces for everyone. There is always a range of speeds for everyone, no matter what your ability is. I've been a part of social runs since I was probably like 10 years old. I used to run with a whole lot of old guys and would run from a pub back to a pub. Nowadays, if I run from a pub back to a pub, I might normally have a lemonade afterwards. Probably not a beer, but weekly social runs are so important within runners' lives and training. Weekend social sports. Often our running is for physical activity or physical support so that we can do more of the things we love, which might be essentially running in context of a competition, right? Which is football, soccer, AFL, American football, you name it. Often we run through necessity to enjoy other things. And fatigue or poor recovery, those things creep up on us, whether it's doing the social sport on the weekend or during the weeknight, and then we certainly feel it. And so these are the aspects that I understand are critical in a runner's world. My goal, my thing that I want to help you with is to become unstoppable in these things and eliminate these parts of runner's life so that you can have the best time. I want to support people to be able to conquer that race. Mental well-being. I know a lot of us run for mental well-being. It's an amazing space to just clear out the mind, switch off, and just do something for ourselves. Physical well-being, again, working the heart, working the diaphragm, working the lungs, working the mind, working the muscles, working the legs. It's all there. You know how it contributes. Community and belonging. It's a big part of becoming unstoppable. The social aspect of running, I feel, is hugely important. Minimize injury risk, becoming unstoppable. We want to use the latest science. We want to use the simplest tools so that we are the strongest human beings, so that when we do our running, how little or how long or how short or how far, we are unstoppable. Balanced lifestyle. Super important, right? It's not always about doing everything in our training plan, or we might not always have things working out the best way. There might be competing priorities. That's okay. We can't beat ourselves up, right? So calm breath, calm mind, unstoppable, and really balancing out all of those joys in life. Improved recovery, big part of becoming unstoppable, right? How do we get back on that horse and show up another day, another week, and keep moving through life? Personal achievement, getting to the end of that race, of that run. As many of you know, if you've entered events before, it's really, really about all of the discipline and consistency prior to achieving that run, prior to achieving that goal of crossing that finish line. In doing that, it's just actually a recognition of all the dedication and work that you've put in. So I believe that through training your breath, through training your body and training your mind, we can really go from just an average runner's life to being really unstoppable at running. And this is what I'm here to support you with. Why else does the breath matter? Let's unpack that further. Energy and endurance, proper breathing techniques, optimize oxygen delivery to muscles, enhancing energy levels and endurance during runs. Efficient breathing can delay the onset of fatigue, allowing for longer and more enjoyable running sessions. Our breathing muscles, our diaphragm, right, is below the lungs, connected to the heart, is essentially the cap at the top of all of the abdominals. It's the start of the cascade of all of our leg muscles. It's super critical for being efficient in our breathing so that everything else that touches that diaphragm, every other system that's working around that, supports us to have energy and endurance and be able to do more of what we love. Performance and recovery. Controlled breathing improves overall performance by maintaining a steady pace and rhythm, which is crucial for endurance sports. Post-run recovery is accelerated with effective breathing techniques, reducing muscle soreness and speeding up the healing process. We're going to dive in later with some more technicalities around this, but in essence, when we modify our breathing to really support the biochemical functions within our body through some of the exercises coming up, breathing light, breathing slow, breathing deep, we really begin to unlock the power of the breath, which affects way more than we think, to the extremes of things like our blood pH, from actually releasing oxygen from our cells. It's all connected to our blood and how we breathe. Mental focus and relaxation. Breathing exercises help in calming the mind and maintaining focus. Essential for long distance running and managing stress. Breath control can reduce anxiety and enhance mental clarity, leading to better decision making and performance during runs. Clear mind, happy heart, right? With our breathing, when it's really erratic or we're stressed out, often our breath rate increases, our heart rate increases. We know that when our breathing's calm, relaxed, calm, our mind's focused, we're more relaxed, enabling us to manage stress and engage more fully in what we're doing, whether it's running or working or just actually playing. Injury prevention. Proper breathing supports better posture and core stability, which helps in preventing common running injuries by reducing overbreathing and maintaining efficient respiratory patterns. Runners can avoid issues such as side stitches and respiratory fatigue. How many of you have experienced a stitch and it's in like the inside left rib or just at the top of the stomach on the outside, or maybe on the right side? It's often in one side or the other and in one spot. There's some interesting studies out there that are starting to explore that connection between our breathing, those stitch locations, and what signaling is actually going on within the body. And there's some fascinating exercises that we can do later in this course that unpack how to work through some of those challenges when we're running, whether it's short distances or long distances. Health and wellness. Nasal breathing filters and warms the air, reducing the risk of respiratory infections and improving overall lung health. Regular breath training can improve cardiovascular health, enhance lung capacity, and contribute to general well-being. We live in a world where we're often mad about the amount of food that we have and the quality of food that we have, the amount of water that we consume and the quality of water that we consume. We also are mad about how many steps we take and the quality of those steps that we take. But in terms of our breathing and the air that's all around us all the time, we're often very concerned about the quality of the air, but not often about the quantity of the air. Throughout this course, you're going to learn exactly all about the quantity of how we breathe and how that impacts our biophysical structure. What is the BOLT test? Moving forward, BOLT stands for Body Oxygen Level Test. It's a really simple acronym, and I love the lightning bolt. It just signals action and charge and making things happen, so it's pretty cool in that respect. This test works to understand the tolerance to CO2. The BOLT test measures the duration you can comfortably hold your breath after a normal exhalation, indicating your body's tolerance to carbon dioxide. Core part here that I'm going to mention is that it's after an exhalation. So after we've exhaled fully, let all of the air out of our lungs. Respiratory efficiency. This test provides insight into your current respiratory efficiency and potential breathing issues. So they've done a range of studies on this in different people around the world, and they understand that this score directly indicates how efficient breathers are. And from that point, when we have a baseline or a point to start with, then we know where we want to get to and how we can achieve that. Trigger to breathe. Contrary to belief, it is a shortage of carbon dioxide, CO2, not O2, oxygen, that our body monitors for the need to breathe. So in our body, when we are puffed, we think we need to breathe more to get more oxygen into our blood, into our cells, to make our body be okay. That's actually further from the truth. And this was discovered by Christian Bohr back in 1908. And it's called the Bohr effect. And it understands that carbon dioxide plays a critical role in releasing oxygen from our blood. And so we'll unpack that as to why this is a fascinating effect. Lower score equals more volume. The lower the Bolt score in seconds, the more likely your breathing volume is likely to be higher. Greater breathing volume, the more breathlessness you will experience during exercise. So the lower your score, the more air you're breathing, and the less efficient you are at exchanging carbon dioxide and oxygen in your cells within your body. Why the Bolt matters. Functional breathing equals functional movement. 60 to 70% of runners cite lower back pain as an issue throughout their lifetime. As I mentioned earlier, the diaphragm is this beautiful hood-shaped muscle that has almost like fingers connecting that diaphragm right at the top of the lumbar spine. Due to that critical role, if our breathing is dysfunctional, that diaphragm's floppy, that connection's weak, our lumbar spine will be compressed, and then that cascades everything below that all the way down to our feet. So functional breathing is functional movement. Vital function. Breathing is one of the body's most vital functions, so when breathing patterns become suboptimal, other functions such as core muscle function will compensate to help maintain respiration. So measuring our Bolt score indicates how well our breathing is supporting the rest of our body's vitality to function normally and not have to compensate. Core muscle dysfunction is now correlated to a variety of musculoskeletal problems such as lower back pain, neck pain, and ACL injuries. There's a leading body of evidence that's starting to stack up around how that hood-shaped muscle, the top of all those squishy organs in the middle and connected to the abdominals in the front, is really critical to avoiding injury, to avoiding lower back pain, to avoid neck pain. We're going to go through a breathing practice later in this module, which essentially will give you the experience to do with your posture in terms of how that can just absolutely release the tension in your neck, which is really amazing. A higher Bolt score suggests better breathing efficiency and greater endurance, while a lower score can indicate overbreathing or respiratory issues. Regularly tracking. Your Bolt score helps monitor progress in improving breathing techniques and overall running performance. The best time to measure your Bolt score is upon waking in the morning on an empty stomach and just at a really relaxed, steady state within the body. And if you do this test at the same time as you're improving it, you'll understand where that baseline moves and whether you're improving based on the exercises, based on your breathing technique throughout the rest of your day. Measure your Bolt score. The exciting stuff. Tonight we're going to measure the bolt score. Measuring your bolt score. This is how we do it. You don't have to do it right this second. We're going to run through how we do it, and then I'm going to guide you through it straight after. We sit normally and breathe normally for a few minutes. Take a normal silent breath in and out through your nose. At the end of your exhale, pinch your nose and start the timer. Hold your nose until you feel the first involuntary contraction in the body to breathe. Release your nose and breathe normally. So these are the 5 steps that we're going to run through. So right now I'll encourage you, let's just start on number 1. So if you could just sit normally and breathe normally as you are, where you are in a comfortable seated position, we'll move on to measuring our bolt score. I've got the timer for you all, and that's queuing instantly when I play. So I am going to just do it like this. So now that you're in a relaxed breathing state, right, really calmly, I just want you to exhale fully to get on the same page. You can exhale your breath fully. I want you to gently inhale through your nose, mouth closed. Exhale fully, and at the end of the exhale, pinch your nose and begin to observe the timer. Now, when you're pinching your nose, I want you to be aware of the first involuntary contraction of the breath. So the first desire to breathe. This isn't a breath holding competition. When that involuntary lurch or that sense to breathe triggers, take note of the time. So what we're looking for is that first involuntary contraction to breathe. From the body, it might be a lurch in the stomach, it might be in the chest, it might be the brain going, my head might shake forward a little bit. These are all bodily signals that we need to breathe, and that's when you take your bolt score as a time. Note it down and take note of that. If you'd like to do this again, I'm sure you can rewind the video slightly, watch the 1 minute timer again. Remember this measurement as at the first involuntary sign of the need to breathe. It's not a breath hold competition. So replay the timer, take the test again, and measure down your score. Interpreting your bolt score. So now that we've got our scores, we're going to understand what they mean. Interpreting your bolt score. Less than 10 seconds, a score below 10 seconds indicates highly dysfunctional breathing and a high risk of breathlessness during exercise. It's a high possibility you experience asthma, your breathing's probably noisy, audible, quite loud. This isn't a bad thing. It's a place that we can improve on. And within a few weeks, doing some really simple daily exercises, you can lift that breathing efficiency and you'll notice a massive difference. Below 25 seconds, scores below 25 seconds suggest low to moderate breathing efficiency with significant room for improvement. So if you're out running or inspiring to go further and your bolt score is 25 or below, there's some amazing results that we can do with your breathing and work through some really great exercises to level up that breath so that you can go further and faster without puffing, without pushing as much, without that heart rate being so high on our Strava. Right? We really want to be able to nail that zone 2 training. Yes, we can run more for that. Yes, we can do some crazy intervals. Those don't functionally train the diaphragm. If we have a dysfunctional diaphragm, we can run as much as we want. We can be an elite athlete, but our diaphragm might be lazy. It's like having a lazy piston in a car. It's not firing, right? We've got to get that firing. We've got to get that efficient. We've got to get that effective. We've got to get it working well so that you can enjoy your running. Above 25 seconds, A score above 25 seconds indicates functional breathing with room for improvement. The goal is 40 seconds. A score of 40 indicates an elite level athlete with maximal access to breathing functionality, contributing to great running performance, fast recovery, and overall health. The great news is every single one of us is an athlete. If you're watching this video and you run, you're an athlete, right? If you show up, you put your running shoes on just once a week, you're an athlete, okay? And just because the target for an elite level athlete is 40, that doesn't mean it's unachievable for anyone that's sitting at home on the couch, right? These breathing skills and breathing tools are functional tools for the rest of our lives. And the more easy we breathe in our everyday, the benefits stack far beyond our running. So even if you have a moderate score, leveling up to 40 is a massive achievement. You'll notice a massive difference in other aspects of your life. Improving your BOLT score. Breathing exercises. Practice regular breathing exercises such as diaphragmatic breathing and breath holds. In the next modules coming up, we're going to cover some of these, so you're going to get the exact tools to level up your BOLT score. Nasal breathing. Incorporate nasal breathing during daily activities and exercise to enhance CO2 tolerance and improve respiratory efficiency. So, aiming to breathe through our nose, it is the primary organ that is designed for breathing. We'll cover some effective techniques and tools for clearing this out later in the course. Really excited. Train while you sleep. Ensuring your breathing patterns during sleep are functional is a great way to get a free 8 hours training in. This is like one of the most amazing tricks on the planet, I think. And it's something that is very accessible to everyone. And with a bit of work, we can retrain how we breathe to get a better night's sleep, better recovery during our night, and then wake up fresher the next day. The stats on this are insane, and it makes a massive, massive difference. And especially if for whatever reason you're a snorer, or you have a very highly disruptive sleep cycle or struggle to go to sleep, breathing exercises that we've got in here are going to really support you to get a better night's sleep, to wake up really refreshed and have a great day, irrespective of if you're going for a run. Book a free one-on-one onboarding call to unpack your results and make an action plan. So now you've got your BOLT score, you've got an understanding of what you can do to improve, you've got an understanding of where you're going in your running or how you want to feel in your day-to-day, how you want to go from a running life to becoming an unstoppable runner. There is a link in the community. Feel free to click it. It says free one-on-one onboarding call. Book a call, 30 minutes with me, anytime. There's 3 days in advance of calendar slots, 30 minutes with me. We'll go through your BOLT score. We'll understand where you're at. We'll make a plan. I'll make sure you're doing the right modules within this course coming up, pointing out key parts of where you can improve. We can make a plan and we'll get you breathing and running and moving effectively within the next week. In summary, functional breathing equals functional movement. Our diaphragm is connected to so much, and it is almost like, other than our feet on the floor, I think possibly one of the next most vital functions in our body. Being grounded and then dealing with all of the air and everything above us. Optimize oxygen delivery to muscles, functional breathing, functional movement. Movement requires energy. Energy comes from getting air from out here down into our body, through those lungs, into our cells. Those things are connected. Reduce anxiety and enhance mental clarity. Fast, shallow, erratic breathing, crazy mind, spinning thoughts. When we're running, when we're in the workplace, these tools really help calm the mind and reduce anxiety. Reduce injury, better posture and recovery. So many of us don't have to put up with lower back pain, niggly injuries that are actually often just a symptom of something else going on in our body. As you'll see later on, our diaphragm is a critical muscle that governs a lot of everything that's below it. Noses are designed to breathe. Our noses have amazing little cilia in them. They filter, warm, humidify. Our lungs are a massive surface area, like 2 tennis courts big, I think. It's insane. We'll cover out further why these are designed to breathe, but it's critical. Track your progress. Now you've got your Bolt score. If you don't believe me, measure it every morning, and your results will be, on average, about the same until you start leveling up your breathing through breathing exercises and practicing while you train. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, follow for exclusive content at Skeletal Freedom. It's where I release new updates, new exciting things I'm experimenting with. Share the course. If you found tonight's module on the Bolt score valuable, please let's start a revolution and change runners' lives together. Train your team. This is a great free online training for sports teams. Don't be afraid to share it with your mates. Tonight's quote: I often hear someone say, "I'm not a real runner. We are all runners. Some just run faster than others. I've never met a fake runner." That's by Bart Yasso. He's the CEO of Runner's World. Some people think he's got the coolest job on the planet because he just goes around interviewing people and just talking and doing all things running. He's run a lot. He's talked to a lot of runners. This perspective is beautiful in my mind. We are all runners. Some just run faster than others. I've never met a fake runner. Running's something we never have to really teach ourselves. We just do it innately in our bodies. Where does that come from? Who knows? But what it means is that we are all runners and none of us are fake, and some of us are just faster and slower, but we all have similar things in common, like improving our mental health, improving our physical well-being, and by finding more enjoyment in the things that we love. So I'm fired up. I hope you're ready to go, and I look